All right, so I'm going to create a little video here for you, my wonderful students, to review the basic weaknesses of the Articles of Confederation. Let's start right at the top. Under the Articles of Confederation, we learned that there was only one branch of government, the legislative branch. There was a unicameral, meaning one chamber, a unicameral legislative branch known as the Confederation Congress. And the Confederation Congress was the group that would write the laws. That's what a legislative branch does. Problem was that the laws themselves were really hard to be made. So the second weakness of the Articles of Confederation is that laws had to be approved by 9 out of the 13 states. We know that as a supermajority. And it made it really difficult to get a law passed. Not impossible, but just really difficult. That's the second weakness of the Articles of Confederation. Third weakness is basically that even if they were able to make a law, this unicameral legislature, even if they were able to get 9 out of 13 states to agree to something, the Articles of Confederation did not give the Congress the ability to force the states to actually follow the laws. So the states could just ignore the laws. And that's a huge problem because, why would you make a law if no one was going to follow it? So that's the third weakness. And similar to that is the fact that the Congress and National Congress, the national government, could not force the states or the people living in America at the time to pay any taxes. And again, that's a huge problem because the government needs money. Anything that the government does, whether it's paying down the war debt or maintaining a military, making investments in roads and schools and, paying the soldiers, paying the people who actually fought this war, they didn't have any of this money. They didn't have any money to do anything because they could not force states or force people to pay taxes. So that's the fourth weakness. So far we've got one branch of Congress, or one branch of the government, that being Congress. We've got really difficult to make laws. We have an inability to force the states to obey the laws, and we have an inability to acquire any tax dollars. The fifth weakness of the Articles of Confederation is that there was no president, no executive branch. So in other words, we had the ability to make a law, but we had no group or person whose job it was to see that the laws were carried out, see that the laws were enforced. So there's no president. Similarly, there was no courts. There was no national court system. So there was no way for states, if they had arguments with each other, there was no way to solve those arguments. Similarly, there was no way to punish people who chose not to obey a law passed by the national government. So the lack of a court system, a separate judicial branch, and the lack of a president or an executive branch is another weakness. Finally, the last weakness that we looked at with the Articles of Confederation was that even if they wanted to change any of this, even if the states wanted to, or some of the states wanted to fix some of these problems, these flaws with the Articles of Confederation required 100% every single state to agree on any proposed amendments. And that makes it basically impossible. Indeed, there was not a single amendment to the Articles of Confederation because they could not get any amendment to be approved by every single state. And remember, in class we talked about this. You can't even get everyone to agree on a type of pizza. You can't even get everyone to agree to a type of ice cream. So how are you ever going to get every single state to agree on a proposed change to the government? It is basically impossible, and indeed proved to be a tremendous flaw in the system. Okay? So, those are the weaknesses of the Articles of Confederation. Each of them was fixed in the Constitution, and I'll post another video at another point to explain how these weaknesses were fixed by the Constitution. So, as a review, no president, no courts, national government couldn't collect taxes, national government could not force states to follow the laws, it was really hard to make laws, and it required every single state to agree to any change in the Articles of Confederation. So, good luck.